Marriage. What a weird concept. Two people meet, spark off an emotional explosion, which is probably the most intense feeling they will ever have in their entire lives. They rush off to a church, swear they will keep it up forever. And then, when the steam of lust has cleared, they see each other's black heads and nasal hair with pustular clarity. They realize they are joined at the legal hip and are condemned to years of sullen compromise, bitterness, despair, depression, futility, and only if they're lucky, the blessed release of an early death. Well, my great propose, Diana, was the walking stick.
Oh, shut up! Oh, Merry Christmas! Oh.
I enjoyed it hugely. There's obviously a very nasty, violent streak in my character that I was allowed to let rip during that.
We had a lot of laughs, a great deal of laughter, in fact. That was the secret of playing together. And I'm sure that came over. The enjoyment that we had doing it to each other and for each other, as well as an audience.
I thought, as you're in such fine fettle and you've woken me up, we might round off a good evening in the traditional manner.
What? Cocoa?
No, you great pillock. Not cocoa.
Oh, is it a saint's day?
I'll hit you.
You mean naughties? Acting with me for 5 years, 45 episodes and 3 Christmas shows, can't have been easy. She was extremely tolerant, kind, wise, and so on.
I'm sure you love him to itsy witsy bits, don't you? Yes? Isn't this going to be your happiest day?
Jane, I am a diabetic. Cut the cloying, sugary stuff or I'll go into a coma.
She's this great leader of the group and the doing Waiting for God. She's the one who held it all together completely. She's very strong and she's always completely on the ball. She's always the one who knows the lines. She's completely with it. But she's got this lovely, vulnerable side to her. And as a person, she has.
So Waiting for God only took up about 5 months of every year, so I had lots of time to do lots of other things. And one of the things I'm most proud of was Memento Mori, which was the most beautiful adaptation of the Muriel Spark book, directed by the late, great Jack Clayton.
Have you heard any more from your mysterious telephone caller?
Several times. It was the same message.
Remember, you must die. You really should tell the police.
And have them prying into my private affairs. Besides, have you seen the sort of policemen they employ nowadays? Not even sure some of them are entirely white. I had to play Michael Hawden's sister, and I was a good 30 years younger than him, and I remember going to see Jack and talking about it and saying to him, there's no point in casting me because I'm far too young. And he said, no, I think you can do it. So with the aid of some, what I used to call fish skin, sort of latex, and a very good wig and an extraordinary false bosom, I played Michael Hawden's imperious sister and had the most wonderful time. I mean, the best times were actually offset when we'd sit in the Winnebagers or wherever, and I would hear the stories of, and of course Thor Hurd was in it. So I would hear all these glorious old actors' stories. I'm sure I've seen that woman somewhere.
Perhaps. She used to sell newspapers at the Elephant and Castle.
I have never been to the Elephant and Castle in my life.
No, but you were a prison visitor for many years, Dame Letty.
What do you mean? Oh, surely they don't allow people like that
This
in
is
here.
the National Health Hospital.
Well, that's no excuse. I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut them out of my will.
She's been through all the repertory hurdles, but they haven't left her without a respect and indeed a search for the truth in the character. You find that wonderfully in Keeping Mum, it seems to me. A terribly difficult tightrope to tread, and lots of comic opportunities, but you always believe the woman underneath it.
Wow, this is cosy, isn't it?
Excuse me, dear.
Yes?
We don't know who you are.
Oh, that's all right, I know. Right, just sit down. Yes, but, who are you? Well, you can call me Peggy.
Hello, Peggy.
Hello. And this is my friend,
Where did you meet up with Norma?
Oh, I think we were at school together. Was it at the tea room?
No, it was a proper school. I don't like doing Joey comedy. That's to say where it's all laughs and people falling down and tiddly. I like actually to do things that are a mixture, like a great Christmas cake, of both laughter and tears. And I also like doing things which deal with subjects which talk to people, just ordinary people. St. David said, remember the little things. And it always seems to me to be the little things that make up what life is all about.
Mum, you're not going to need the golf clubs. What? No, nothing to do with golf. No. Well, I'll tell you later. Okay, bye. Listen, Mum, you're not taking the clubs.
Why not?
Well, you don't need them.
How do you know what I need?
Well, you can't play golf.
You don't know that. I don't know whether I can play golf or not, so how do you know?
Well, they won't let you keep them. There isn't enough room.
I thought you said this was a luxury hotel.
We have been accused of making fun of people in the early stages of Alzheimer's or senile dementia. She doesn't have either of those things. She has something called benign senescent forgetfulness, or I call it selective dottiness, in order to get her own way. Because I think that, like children who have no authority in their own world, parents, teachers tell them what to do, so as you get older and you start to lose your faculties, whether it be physical, mental, or whatever, so other people take over and tell you what you can and can't do, and I think that must be a terrible, terrible time.
Who put these golf clubs under the bed?
Golf clubs?
Mr. Beer, I thought I made our rules on personal possessions quite clear.
You did, but they're her clubs.
They're not my clubs.
They are your clubs.
But I never played golf in my life.
Mum, they're your clubs. You insisted on them.
There is no room here for golf clubs, and certainly not under the bed.
Told you, Andrew.
Peggy is not the brightest thing, not anymore. But there is still a very sound logic, and this is, of course, Steph, the actor, to Peggy's behaviour. You can stop it at any moment, and there is a reason for everything. She never just picks up something and takes it next door. For no reason. She's always got her reason. It may be a nonsense reason, it may be a mad reason, but it's a reason.
Here we are! Now, here's yours,
Tina?
Tina, yes, that's right. And here's your, what do you call this? Cap!
Embarrassing.
Yes. Now, and here's yours, Andrew. Now, everybody, put them on.
She allows me to be a child again, to be silly, to be mischievous, sometimes downright devious, and to enjoy life and to play the now, which I think is the most important thing in life anyway. It is the most important thing in acting.
One of my favourite scenes in the whole thing, and a lasting memory for me, will be of Peggy having organised a surprise birthday party for Richard. The doorbell goes, and suddenly, having got very excited about it all, he's there, and this rush of excitement, absolutely childlike.
Dickie's here! Dickie's here!
Go on, open the door.
Yes, he's here! Quick, light the candles!
You don't know, we'll light the candles later. Go and open the
Yes,
door.
we'll light the candles later. I go and open the door. Then what?
Yeah, don't say anything about the surprise.
Nothing about the surprise, right? What do I say again?
Yeah, don't say anything about the surprise.
Roger, over and over.
Is it like this with her all the time?
Not all the time. Sometimes she's asleep.
Surprise!
She understands script. She knows why every line is there, why every word is in every line to set up a gag. She has a great sense of rhythm, which again comes from her love of poetry, I'm sure, which is just an eye-opener.
We therefore commit his body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
She's a consummate professional, and watching her on recording night, she goes and does a little speech at the beginning to the audience, ostensibly to introduce the cast and relax the audience. I have this theory that she's also building up her own adrenaline so that by the time she goes into the first scene, she is entirely keyed up and ready to go.
When I go, they'll put me in a cardboard box.
I thought you were getting a lift from Richard and Tino.
When I die.
Oh dear.
I'm ready to go any time, you know.
I'm not.
It's just that lately I keep getting this
Don't worry, you'll think of it. No, I'm not ready to go yet. Well, I couldn't leave Andrew. You know that Kate has left him. I know, she's a dreadful woman. But you see, these things happen in the best of families. You've just got to get on with it and make the best of it.
One of the images she uses is of a washing line, which is the through line of what the character's about and what they want, what their objectives are for the thing. And then all the little details of all the little things that you're going to hang on the line as you go. And she spends the week just hanging more and more things on the line, more little details.
Andrew!
Yes, Mum?
I'm afraid I got some bad news. Your uncle is dead.
At last it sinks in.
We're going to have to do something about a funeral.
We did it, Mum. We did it this morning.
No.
Yes, yes.
Playing comedy is much harder than playing tragedy. You need all the same truth, but it's got to be much more technically controlled in some ways. When we were taught by Duncan Ross at drama school, we were both taught by him, he said you've got to have the truth inside you and the actor outside controlling that, and the person outside that finding the balance between the two. And Steph does that quite brilliantly. I can't play comedy. She plays comedy as though it was a doddle, and she's brilliant at it. I tell you how difficult it is. I think it was Molière who was asked on his deathbed what it's like dying. He said it's almost as difficult as playing comedy.
Mum, what's that string for?
Well, this is what you do when someone dies. You tie their toes together.
You're too late, Mum. Uncle William is buried.
Oh, no, not William. No, I'm talking about the other one in there.
Uncle Tom. I'm sure he doesn't want his toes tied. What's happened to him?
Well, he's dead.
He's not moving.
No, well, he's dead.
People don't just die like that.
What do they do, Tina? Make an announcement?
I think one of the things that makes Steph such a good actress is she is prepared to use the two contrasting sides of her personality, which are strength, quite indomitable, and at the same time, as I think she would agree, there is a vulnerable side as well.
I spy my little eye. Something beginning with... something beginning with... R. Rain! No, something else.
I don't think you get a fusion of Steph in her characters. Plainly, you'll get some traits will come to the fore depending on who she's playing. But because one can't divorce an actress's appearance or voice or whatever it is from the character she's playing, and sometimes they hit it off. But it's always seemed to me that she's picked up a new piece of paper and drawn a new character.
What, does everyone give up?
Yes!
Raindrops.
People often ask me what ambitions I have. What parts would you like to play? I have to say I have no desire, having spent so many of those early years doing, restoration and Shakespeare and so on and so forth, all of which I love doing. But I love now new work, so that it's rather like a beach first thing in the morning when no one else has walked on the sand. That's what I like, that's what excites me.
Tom!
What?
Drown yourself. Harvey!
Help!
He's drowning!
Help!
God, how selfish.
But where's Jane?
Jane! Just hang on, Tom. Jane will save you.
Save him yourself, you bloody pimp! Yes!